After the Browns drafted Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, I immediately said in a hot take that I think Harold Fannin Jr. will wind up having a better, more illustrious and productive career than David Njoku. David Njoku has been one of the staples in the Browns organization over his tenure with Cleveland. I think that he has been one of the unsung heroes. He has been one of the best leaders on and off the field with how he conducts himself, how he shows up, and how he continues to push through pain, discomfort, injury, a burnt face. I love David Njoku. So when I say that, I think Harold Fannin Jr. is going to become the better player in terms of productivity and all those things I listed. Don't take that lightly. David Njoku has every physical tool in the book. He can jump over you, run through you, run around you. He's great after the catch, and he comes up clutch when it matters. However, he always leaves you wanting more, and it's for one simple reason. He doesn't make the routine plays consistently enough. When it comes to my guiding football philosophy, I always turn to the Chuck Noll quote. You don't have to be extraordinary. Do the ordinary things well. Make the ordinary plays all the time. With David Njoku, he does the extraordinary. He does those X factor things in the gotta have it moments. I look no further than 4th and goal against Tampa Bay. I was at that game when he goes up, stabs that ball with one hand, comes down, helps send the game to overtime. But then I was also at the game against the Steelers, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's first start, where David Njoku dropped a back shoulder fade in the end zone at the end of the first half, dropped multiple quick slant routes and drag routes. Believe me, you want a guy like David Njoku on your team. You need the guy who can get it for you in the gotta have it moments. But with a new generation of players filtering into Cleveland, particularly quarterbacks, they are going to need a safety blanket that is reliable and makes the ordinary plays. David Njoku's inconsistent greatness is not enough on its own. That is where Harold Fannin Jr. comes in. Harold Fannin Jr. and David Njoku have a ton in common. Njoku's 6'4", 246. Harold Fannin is 6'3", 241. Njoku ran a 4.64 in the 40. Fannin ran a 4.71. Njoku had 21 reps at 225. Fannin had 22 reps. And their similarities in terms of on-field play style is largely rooted in what they do after the catch. They are both YAC machines once they've caught the ball. Either one of those guys has the ability to catch a 5-yard drag route and take it 40 yards and flip the field for an offense. Although both of these guys have that ability, David Njoku isn't always making those plays consistently, and that's why he is underperformed. That's why he hasn't eclipsed 1,000 yards in his career so far. Those little dump offs, those speed outs, those drag routes, those quick slants are what give you the ability to get more touches, break more tackles, and gain more yards. It also helps your offense stay ahead of the chains. It helps a young quarterback feel confident that he has an outlet who he can turn to complete passes to a big, strong, reliable person. And Harold Fannin is that marker of consistency. He had 117 catches in his final year at Bowling Green and only 5 drops. Some outlets have it at 4, some at 7. I caught 5 on film. This led to a 95.7 PFF grade last year, and his tape is getting me extremely excited for what is possible this year and beyond. So in my mind, there are a few categories that make a tight end great, and we're going off of my criteria here. First and most important is possession catching and catching through contact. As a tight end, you're going to be chipped by defensive ends. You're going to be hit by linebackers. You're going to get covered by safeties, and they're going to have to be physical with you at the point of the catch to try and force an incompletion. To be a great tight end, you're going to have to be someone who can catch all of that despite the contact and despite the physicality. You're also going to have to be calm running down the seam, understanding that you're playing within a sea of defenders who are ready to close on you and put down a big hit. The great tight ends make these catches and deliver for their quarterbacks when they take a chance. A tight end has to have a great sense of courage when he plays. The next category would be blocking. Obviously, as a tight end, you are that hybrid cross between an offensive lineman and a receiver. You're asked to do a lot, but blocking is something that cannot be missed. As a receiver, if you're not a great blocker, you're not going to get a lot of playing time. As a tight end, if you can't block, you're not going to make a team. It is vital. The next category would be YAC. I know some people say rack. I've always said YAC, yards after the catch. What do you do as a tight end when you catch the ball close to the line of scrimmage? Do you get tackled immediately get thrown to the ground and get a minimal 2-yard gain? Or can you make that first guy miss? Can you run through him? Can you have enough agility and speed to break free and get an extra 5 yards, 10 yards? To me, the yards after the catch are so crucial for a tight end because a lot of what they're running within their route combinations is usually something shorter, closer to the line of scrimmage, so you can be that check down and that outlet for a quarterback. Obviously not always, but consistently within progressions, you're having those bigger bodied outlet guys closer to the line of scrimmage. So making the first guy miss and getting yards after the catch is very important. So my final category for what makes a great tight end is what I have coined as MQR. Making the quarterback right. In the case of Harold Fannin and David Njoku this year, you're likely going to be playing with rookie quarterbacks, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel at some point this season. That's going to lead to inaccuracies. That's going to lead to play breakdowns where you just have to force the issue and hope that your players can make a play for you. As a tight end, you physically outmatch almost everyone who's going to be covering you. If you're going against a linebacker, you're faster. If you're going against a safety, you're bigger. If they put a nickel corner on you, you can seriously dominate them. However, if the pass is inaccurate, you still have to make the quarterback right. If the pass is behind you when it was supposed to be in front of you, if the ball is high, you can't let it go off your fingertips and get tipped to a defender hanging out behind you. If the ball's low, you got to have that ability to get down and pluck it off your shoelaces. And if it's thrown into traffic, you got to go up there and at least break it away from being an interception. But what is expected is to go up there and make a catch in traffic for your guy. You have to make the quarterback right as a tight end because you are the safety blanket with the best physical mismatches usually across the board on any given play. The good news is that Harold Fannin Jr. does all of those things. And if we were going to give a quick synopsis on what he does best, it would be this. First of all, he showed up in big games last year. He showed up against Penn State and Texas A&M. Those were two of his best games of the year. He is great at running the seam, and he is fearless. Like I said, you got to play with courage as a tight end. This guy has that. He can run down the seam. He won't break his stride. Focus, secure the catch, take the hit, and continue to push his offense to march downfield. He just always seems to know where the defenders are coming from and how he needs to orient himself to best secure the catch, minimize the severity of a hit, and complete the play. He also loves to eat up that middle of the field, whether it's a quick slant, a glance route on an RPO, anything like that, a drag route. He wants the ball in the middle of the field and he's going to stick his foot in the ground and get north immediately. Whenever that middle of the field was open, whenever there were blitzing linebackers and that second level was vacated, Harold Fannin would be there and he would be eating up that yardage. When he's asked to be a more technical route runner, the guy delivers. There's this route against Old Dominion, and he just runs this stick buzz route. That's what we used to call it back in the day, where he's running the stick, feigns the out, and then shutters his feet, gets back up vertical down the seam. Just a beautiful route for a 230 6'3" tight end. This guy has great feet for his size and has a really good understanding of where he is in space and when to use a head nod, a stick, anything like that to get himself open on these double moves. Then when they're down in the red zone, they'll split him out wide, have him run a slant, make the defensive back play through his body to try and stop it, but there's no way you're stopping that ball with how reliable his hands are. They'll put him in the slot, make him run the speed out, and he has the speed to outrun the expanding backers and defensive backs. He'll beat them to the pylon. He can also run the corner route, and there's this great play right here where he runs that corner. The ball is thrown to his inside rather than over his outside shoulder, and the way he jumps up so gracefully, contorts his body, spins 180, and plucks that ball with his pinkies together going forward. Just the body control, the spatial awareness, and the ball skills to make this play when a lot of players might be spazzing and turning around. For a guy that size to be that graceful on a catch like that is so impressive. And this isn't a one-time thing. He does it again against Old Dominion, where he gets that over-the-shoulder catch, extends, plucks it out with his pinkies together, breaks a tackle, and then scores a touchdown. He's just always putting himself in position to run after the catch, but without taking his eyes off the ball like so many young receivers and even veteran receivers do. They're always looking to make a play upfield, but they lose the catch. Harold Fannin is adjusting mid-air to make these catches and then positioning himself with the way he contorts his body to make a play downfield after the catch. He can also run all the basic routes that you need a tight end to run, like stick. Stick is something that every offense runs and that the Browns run. They're going to run with a lot of options built into it as well. Do you hook up? Do you run the out? Do you break inside? He's the kind of guy with the footwork, the understanding of defenses, leverage, where he's going to be able to do that effectively. So as you can already tell, I'm very high on Harold Fannin Jr. I think that him and David Njoku will absolutely be able to coexist and play well together, but I do think that Harold Fannin will wind up being the better player when we look back at this 8 years down the road. Again, that doesn't mean that those guys can't coexist and be a great team together. And it doesn't mean that David Njoku might turn it on, feel that pressure, and be elevated, because iron sharpens iron. So we're going to dive into this film room now. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to go through his blocking, his YAC ability, some of his route running, and just in general, what you can expect from him this season on the Browns roster. So let's dive into it. We'll meet up at the end, but I appreciate everyone watching. Here we go, Harold Fannin. So we're going to start off with Harold Fannin's ability to make contested catches and to make his quarterback right. So what we're going to see right here, they're going to run a bit of this mock quarterback power move here. And Fannin right down is going to flash at the linebacker and then work up vertically and run his route off the safety. Wins outside and ultimately makes a really nice adjustment to the throw here. So he gets that little hump move at the top of the route. You can see what I'm talking about here. He's working inside. This defensive back's closing down on him, throws the forearm, rips over top, wins, and now it's a race out to the sideline. So this ball should be thrown out here in between the numbers and the sideline. But ultimately what happens, and we won't really see it until the tight view, is that Fannin makes his quarterback right here. Ball's up in the air. It's hanging. This ball should have been laid out in front. This should have been a touchdown. But ultimately, it's thrown behind. This gives this defensive back a great chance to just pop his hands through the middle of Fannin's two hands and make this an incompletion. But Fannin's concentration, his ability to contort his body, his understanding of his spatial awareness and where the defensive back is what makes this play. And it might look minor, but look, he has his hands on the ball here. He's going to rip the ball down into his hip pocket away from his body. A lot of the time, people think a receiver, oh, you catch it, you bring it into your chest. Not that you let the ball hit your chest, but you get the ball in your hands and then you suck it in to secure it. You have to understand where the defensive back is in the process of securing this catch. The securing of the catch is 90% of the catch. So what he does a great job of here is pulling this ball down to the hip pocket away from this defensive back. See, you see it down there, pulled down and away, protected all the way through. Here's Fannin here, working across the formations, setting up the wing, and then slicing across, working vertically, and then just making a really nice casual back shoulder catch. The defensive back's calling for a push off here. Is it? Doesn't really matter because the hands were nice and low. He doesn't get a big extension up towards the chest. That's when a ref's going to call that. But if you get your hand on their hip, you can chicken wing them. You can give them a little bit of something to create that separation. And ultimately, it's a back shoulder throw. So they're not calling this. So a really nice adjustment. Can you make those contested catches? Can you make your quarterback right? He's doing it right there. So now we see Fannin down on the line, releasing. He's going to run this glance route or blast, however you want to call it. This is just working into the middle of a zone when you know you got men here looking to drive, pop your head off. You got to clear the backers. This is a high level trust throw and catch, but the trust is more so coming from the receiver in this instance. Look at that. Hands fully extended. In the NFL, this is probably a shot to the chest, but I still believe that Fannin will be able to make these plays because look at that. Ball's in, secured, protected. It's just a really great job. And that's what I think Fannin's strengths are, how he can attack the middle of the field with just fearlessness and speed. It's really big. So now we have him condensed down in the slot, working across the formation, just on a simple OTB. OTB stands for over the ball. And Once again, this does not look like a lot, but this is called making the quarterback right, because in the quarterback's room, they're saying throw it to his chest. Do not allow your tight end to leave his feet, especially across the middle of the field, especially when you have 1, 2 defenders lurking behind. Because if this ball goes off the fingertips, any one of these guys here in this pocket, depending on how high that ball goes in the air, could pick that ball off. So being able to go up and secure those catches and pull them down and make them safe is super, super important from a tight end. That's something we talked about. A tight end is a quarterback safety blanket, especially a young one. You're going to get inaccurate throws. You got to make those catches, because we've seen David Njoku do it. We've seen Harrison Bryant in the past. We've seen countless tight ends for different teams. They are that outlet pass. They let a high ball go off their fingertips and it's intercepted. That's super important. So now we're split out wide. He's playing the X here, line up on the numbers, and he's just running, once again, that slant, that blast, that glance route, however you want to call it. This is more of that glance because it's coming off of an RPO here. So the quarterback's just looking for the weak side linebacker to step up and rally for this run that he thinks coming. He sees him approach, so we're hitting it right off his ear hole behind his head. And Fannin just does another really, really good job here of adjusting to a ball that is not really on the money. At the college level, this is fine. For a quarterback, not in the NFL, that's super far behind him. But his wingspan, his ability to focus through the catch and secure the ball just makes him so reliable. Look at that. On the move to the back shoulder, still ripping it. And this is the finish. This is why he's securing all these catches and why a guy like David Njoku isn't always securing them, because he doesn't just catch it there and hold it in place. He rips this ball to his front shoulder to protect it from the guy who's trying to actively break up that pass. And that's super high football IQ right there. So now what do you do on the scramble drill? We got Fannin lined up in the bunch to the weak side here, and he's just working. Nothing's doing. Quarterback's flushed out. What's going on in the middle of the field? There's no safety. Everyone is low. Everyone is eyes forward to the scrambling quarterback. So what does Fannin do? Okay, let me take this open space. We got the chemistry. Let's hit a big play right there. You'd be surprised at how many players have a hard time understanding where the soft spot in a zone is. And that is really one of the traits that great tight ends have. How many times have we seen Travis Kelce find the soft spot in the zone? And I'm not trying to overblow this play. This is one instance where he's doing this well, but it really is a feel thing. And we're seeing it at the college level with guys who aren't as reliable as pro level quarterbacks. That's super important. That is how you be a great tight end. That's how you be a great offensive player in general. Understanding where the soft spots are, understanding what your quarterback is thinking without even having to draw it up. You just go as it happens and you convert, make a big play, flip the field. So now, Bowling Green at home. This is a really, really solid catch here. Once again, just finding that soft spot, not making it too difficult. I think that's another thing. Sometimes you'd see Njoku try and run out a little bit too long and catch this with his pinkies together, like an over-the-shoulder catch, not realizing that there's a deep defender. There's a safety hanging over top, waiting to try and break that ball off. He gives him his back. Now the defensive back has to play through the body, and it's just a way to secure the catch. You have to know on what plays can you run after the catch, and that's a decision that is made during the play. You understand as a receiver, as a tight end, right here, he was looking down when he made his break. He saw the deep defender. He saw the safety in a two-man shell, whatever this was. He saw a defender over top, and he knew, okay, if this ball comes in hanging up a little bit, I have to turn. I have to give him my back and protect this throw. I can't run under this or else I'm going to get cleaned up, or this ball could get intercepted at worst. So seems like a minor thing. It's ultimately really, really important. Then here, once again, double whammy. They're running that RPO, running the glance because all the backers come down. We're wide open. Quarterback throws way too high of a ball. If that's off the fingertips, that's an interception every single time. But what does he do? Gets a little David Tyree chewing gum on the helmet, sticks it. It's, a $10 catch for a $1 gain. It's nothing crazy, but it's a first down. You stay moving. And more importantly, you prevent an interception. So he's being that blanket, that big body target who's going to protect you. Now, another really pretty back shoulder catch. Right off the top, they are head up. So what my old coach used to tell me is like, if a defensive back lines up on you head up, it's like that guy might as well just put his time card in and quit while he's ahead, because you have a two-way go now. You can go inside, you can go outside. And Fannin isn't going to do anything crazy. He's just going to go straight up speed release to the outside, make him open the gate, press, hand on the hip, Jordan game 6, throw him by, get up. And it's just the body control is what's really impressive about him. I think, and I'm not trying to dunk on Njoku. Njoku is one of my favorite Browns players. He's been fantastic. He can just be a little spastic sometimes. Sometimes he's not. He's like a world-class athlete. Other times he is. Fannin always seems under control. This little hop, skip, jump 180 here. Watch it in slow-mo. Just a full 180 in air, catching that ball and setting himself up to continue to run after the catch if he can break that tackle. That's the crazy thing. It's not just like I'm securing it and moving forward. He caught that with the intent to continue upfield and was in position to do so. Now what we're going to see here is just really great concentration through the catch. So right there, that ball is way behind. Quarterback's throwing it off of this guy's fingertips, essentially. This was borderline tipped. But what Fannin does a good job of is throttling into the zone. He sees here that he's going to have to make an adjustment, and he doesn't just sprint through. Some guys that go and they just right through. The ball winds up being way too far behind. Fannin just plays with a pace where he knows he can adjust. And that's how you make your quarterback right. Ball thrown behind you. You understand you got to throttle in this zone. You see that linebacker inside of you. You know he's probably not going to clear it. See the pressure coming. Ball's in the air. You make that adjustment. You make your quarterback right. That is what a great tight end does. How do you concentrate when you got a guy on you and you got a safety coming down over top? Do you make that catch? That is what a tight end does. That is the name of the game. That's not even an outstanding play. That's just an expected routine play. Do you catch in traffic when you're getting hit every single time? So good job there. And now we're just going to finish off with a couple more here. This play was exceptional. This was a very errant throw from this quarterback. They have a zone defender underneath. Quarterback thought he was driving and he had a big pocket over top. In reality, his eyes were robbing inside. He sees what's going on. This is an interception all the way. But Fannin understands this. He sees what's going on. Jumps off 1 foot. Plays it like Sauce Gardner. Plays it like Darrelle Revis. Jumping through the air and breaks that pass up. That's an invaluable trait right there. And that's just a guy who has a great understanding of what is going on during an individual play, and just the body control and focus to make that play is really impressive. Plays it better than most DBs do. And then a final one in terms of contested catch and body control. Let's see it here. Make your quarterback right. That's like, call it a lucky bounce. Some people just are lucky players. They attract that energy. Fannin seems to be one of those dudes. This should have been a pick. You get a second chance at life, and he's going to make you right. What should have been an interception was a touchdown. Let's talk about Harold Fannin Jr.'s ability to move after the catch, after the handoff, whatever it is. We start off right off the bat. Who loves to run this play? The Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's become beat to death how much they run it. And now you're seeing other teams like this, Bowling Green and the NCAA and the MAC, running this one here. And you can only really do it if you have a tight end who can move the way that guys like Travis Kelce and Harold Fannin moves. Quick flip, eyes immediately upfield, drops the pad level. You want to take me low? I'm going over top. So this is a 3rd and 1. Where are they going to line up Harold Fannin? How about at quarterback? He'll be the Wildcat quarterback. He's going to get you that 1 yard that you need. And you saw a bunch of tight ends. Actually, only a couple tight ends. Tyler Warren and him in the NCAA doing this. I don't know why I said a ton. It was only 2 guys. And you got to be one of these dynamic playmakers. Like, look at Harold Fannin. Screw the play fake. Let's just get up and get going. Get you 1 yard. That's valuable right there, man. And that's not like Harrison Bryant taking the under center snap and taking a sneak. Like Harold Fannin, I'm sure the Browns are going to do something like this to utilize his skill set because he's confident running the ball. He's good vision. So now let's line him up in the backfield. How about that? Give him a handoff. Nothing going on inside. Let's break this out and get a nice 5, 6, 7, 8 yard gain. That's a crazy thing to see. This is stuff Aaron Hernandez did. This is, again, Tyler Warren. This is a select group of guys who have the ability, who have the vision to make plays like this, who can be dynamic and placed in any position on the offense. So we've seen that shovel play before when he's up in the wing, when different tight ends are up in the wing, cutting across the formation. But now, how about when he's in line? Take that little bucket step, work across the formation, get the shovel, and just get another first down. Is really nice acceleration up through that hole there. And, you know, this is something that I talked about before, I'm sure. And if I haven't, here it is again. The ability to make the first guy miss is what dictates your success as a ball carrier. When you make this guy miss in the hole, that's an extra 5 yards at least. Every guy who you make miss, you're adding on at least another 5 yards usually. So now we're down here in line once again. Let's just flash and run the tunnel screen back across the formation. It's just, you can use him in so many ways. As an outlet, as a primary guy in any progression. Line him up in the backfield, that wildcat in short yardage. Just an extremely valuable dynamic player. All right, now against Penn State. Better defenders. People are wondering if he's got it. He had his best games of the season against Penn State and against Texas A&M. Look at that. Making this first guy miss. He eventually does catch up and make the play, but this stutter step right here. I'm going to use your momentum against you. Shutter. Make you freeze because you think I'm going to cut back across formation, and then I'm going to straight arm, keep the distance, and keep working through this arm tackle now. That's big. Okay, now we're up here in the slot. Run that slant. Just going to, bam, right inside from this off corner. Catch that, and then we're north. And this is the other piece. Yes, you have to make the first guy miss, but how do you make the first guy miss, especially when he's on your hip like this? You let this next foot make you go north. If you keep drifting across, he's already on you. You're just going to get tripped up and fall. If you step up and start working north immediately after this catch, that's going to be your ability to break his grip, and then you're one-on-one with this guy. Ultimately, that's what he does. He gets away. And again, I tell you, you might not think that this is right, but if you continue flat, he's going to be able to get you down. He's going to trip you up. If you push up and fight against this tackle and get north, that's how you break tackles. And that's how Fannin consistently breaks tackles over and over and over. And look at the fight and the finish. It's enormous. See it from the tight here. It's beautiful. All right, now we're down here in the slot. Quick screen. Make a guy miss. Get the straight arm. Finishing huge. This is 3rd and 5. Backed up inside your own 10-yard line. And this is the thing. The Browns have not had guys who can do this consistently, who can take short, safe passes and turn them into first downs. Amari Cooper wasn't that kind of guy. Jerry Jeudy isn't really that type of guy. You would have thought Elijah Moore would be more of that guy. He ultimately wasn't. There hasn't been a lot of those guys. David Njoku has really been the number 1 YAC guy. But now to have a second big body person who can do this, who literally you have everything flowing out to you. The ability to make that first guy miss, and you might say that that's a hold up there, whatever. We've seen worse blocks not get called for holding. The ability to do that, convert on 3rd and 5 is so invaluable, so invaluable. just running hard and running north. Okay, now we're Texas A&M. This is the opposite of what we were talking about earlier, where he understands when and where to flip his back to the defender. So right here, he sees, okay, this is a single high safety in the middle of the field. There's no one flanked to the outside. So like in a 2 high scenario, in a 3 high scenario where there's 3 high defenders, or 2 high defenders, there is going to be someone responsible for guarding outside of the hashes to the sideline. In this instance, this single high safety is in a bind. So they're rotating. He's dropping to the middle of the field. Fannin now knows when he runs this corner route, there's no one over top of him. So what he can do, he can run underneath the ball. He doesn't have to turn around and give his back to the DB to protect the throw. He says, okay, we're clear. We're out running over the shoulder. And now what do? Stab, use their momentum against them, and then just that finish, dude. That is extremely, extremely exciting to see. Right there. Most guys are getting caught. They're going to try and cut across the grain or run straight, and they're getting caught either way. Fannin understands we are mono-y-mono. I have a little bit of space. I have a little bit of the time. Okay, I have you overcommitted because you're trying to outrun my angle on the sideline. I'm going to jab this foot across, make you play on your heels now, make you open up again, little shutter there, and then stab with that left foot, cut back across your face. That is just amazing stuff. Here's the press box view of what I'm talking about here. So safety's down here. He's going to rotate. He's going high. Everyone's locked up. We're locked up. There's some sort of communication breakdown that happens throughout this. Fannin understands what's going on. He knows I don't have anyone out here guarding. He's not going to be able to make it over. I can run underneath this and catch it. And it's just a really good understanding. Great stuff. See the slow-mo here from the broadcast. Really comfortable catch over the shoulders too. And that little ba-bam right there. He's got a very subtle and effective shake to him. Here's another one from the Texas A&M game. He's lined up in the backfield right here, and he's going to leak forward like any running back would and run this screen. And nothing crazy here. Most guys are going to try and outrun this. They're going to try and cut back across. They're going to do something. But Fannin just has, once again, a great understanding and ability to play in a phone booth while also being aggressive and just working upfield. This defensive back is coming down, and he just, with one step, with that left foot in the ground, creates enough room, dips the shoulder, makes him miss. He takes out his own guy, and then splits these guys coming forward, lowers his head. He just understands when to use his agility and when to use his power really, really well. Foot in the ground, working upfield. There's nothing more valuable than getting first downs like that consistently, especially in instances like 2nd and 8, 3rd and long. Doesn't matter. Keep your head ahead of the chains. All right, now here's another one, a tunnel screen, working back across. The way they run this is almost like they're going to run a sled. So in a sled concept, you'll see a lead blocker go out and then a swing pass. So basically the sled is like the blocking sled. He's running out to be a lead blocker. They throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and you have a 2-on-1 fast break essentially. But what Bowling Green does here is they're going to run out like that, and then he's going to cut back across, and they're going to run a tunnel screen off of it. So sets up perfectly. This is a really, really nice play design here. But what he does after the fact is all him. Catch that thing. And now let's outrun everyone, this SEC defense, and get in the end zone. So here they are against Akron. They're backed up. They're in the shadow of their own goalpost. We have Fannin here lined up in the wing. And once again, what do we need to do in instances where we are backed up, we're in our own end, and we have to get positive yardage? If we can't run the ball, we have to get the ball to a safe spot, to a guy who can convert and get yards after the catch. A nice, quick throw, so there's no holding, so we don't get a safety, nothing like that. Just get the ball out quick into your playmaker's hands. We're blocking up here, and we're just trying to spring him to get an opportunity out on the edge. Stiff arm, down in the dirt, accelerate, get downfield. That is dangerous. That is dangerous for a man that big to be running like that. Okay. Now, 4th and 2. What have the Browns, A, not been able to run, and B, not been able to stop on defense? The quick end around, the jet sweep on 4th and short. This is one where you can run it with this guy now. Cut across the formation and let him get to work. Quick handoff. Fast enough to get the edge, get the first down. And the fact that he scores on this is absurd. I know it's Akron. These guys are still college football players. You get the edge, cut inside, stiff arm, and finish. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous football right there. All right. Now, once again, what do you do after the catch? First of all, this throws behind him. They're running that glance once again, that RPO. We've seen it 4 times now. The will comes down. We're running. We're throwing it, replacing him. Ball's behind. We still catch it, though. And then what do you do after? Break 2 tackles, break a third, and then wind ourselves. That definitely hurt, but just another moment right there of a guy breaking tackles, doing the basics up until a point, and then being extraordinary. And then this one right here, we're running a bit of this fast break. We're wrapping the backers and running this slant or dig. I can't really see it because we don't have the full screen here. But to catch this ball and the finish, it's very David Njoku versus Baltimore-esque right there. Running through a guy. A lot of guys, they have the strength, the speed, they have the combo. Can they use their strength and speed to their advantage? Fannin uses every single one of his physical gifts to his benefit. And I believe this game, the Ventures Bowl, he had 17 catches for 213 yards. The guy's a freak. How about the route here too? We're going to run out and basically run an angle route. This is a route exclusively for guys like Nyheim Hines, like Jahmyr Gibbs, Darren Sproles, short, fast, quick, dynamic, jitterbug running backs. This is now Harold Fannin, 6'3", 240. He's going to run the angle route, shutter, stab that left foot, and cut across his face for a completion. It's outstanding. Watch him set it up. We're pressing the leverage. We're going to stab outside, make him overcommit, and cut underneath his face. That left foot there. Ooh. Just beautiful work. So now we're going to look at some blocking. He was not asked to do a ton of it because he really was the offense at the end of the day. But when he was asked to, when the opportunities presented himself, he showed up big time. So he's right down here as the point man. This run is going to go to the left and ultimately kind of springs. Watch him engage all the way downfield, all the way down. That's called bird dogging a guy. That is how you do it. Little inside release. Okay, I'm not getting the ball. You're on me. You want to play physical? Let's go. Hand on the hip, working him downfield the whole way. He's just pushing on that hip, trying to get up into the chest if he squares up. Really great job. Now we're going to down block, seal this edge, and try and get a bit of an outside run going. We'll see it better from the tight here. So, coming down, we're crashing, we're sealing. Once again, you're just looking at it being like, oh, well, he wasn't looking. It was not a blindside block, but the edge had no chance in this. This is a block that people miss a lot at all levels of football. It's easy for these guys to shoot up inside fast. Fannin does a good job of securing that. So you got to know that they can make those routine ones that they have to have, and he does it there. This is what matters. We used to call it Bob, body on a body. You want to finish Bob. You want to finish body on body. You want every single time in film and practice in a game, you want your body to be in between the ball carrier and the defender who you are blocking. That is how you finish. That's how you show up on tape. Because if he breaks this tackle here, Fannin's going to have the block that springs it to become a touchdown. And that's usually what happens anytime on a kick return, on a big run. Anytime a guy is caught on a big explosive run, it's because one guy missed a block, because he was lazy, because he had bad technique, because he wasn't running the play hard from the outset. So that's an instance right there where it's like, if we break this tackle, if this is Quinshaw Judkins, if he can make this guy miss, we are going to score, because we have a guy like Harold Fannin who continues to block and get his body on a body. So now we're down in the red zone. We're offset, off the line. We're working out, and we're just locking up on this guy, trying to get a little quarterback run to the outside. He loses it a little bit here. Without a doubt, his feet need to be working. This left foot is too locked in on the ground. So we work. We need to continue climbing. If he's trying to run out, that's where we want to take him. And ultimately, he does enough to use his momentum to work with him. He's digging him out. Some people are like, oh, that's a hold. That's not a hold. His hands are still inside, and he's driving. Ultimately dumps him. If this quarterback can make these guys miss, it's a touchdown, and Fannin's guy isn't going to be the one responsible for stopping him. So it's a good job, but you want to see the feet going a little bit more. We're nitpicking, though. Let's see if we can see it from this end. This is what we want to be more active. And a lot of the times in these instances, as a receiver, you're blind to where the ball's running behind you. You don't really know. So a lot of it is reactive in the sense of like, we're waiting for this defensive back to make a decision before we go, because you can't just grab another man and run him out of the gym. Like, that's Rob Gronkowski. In this instance, this is a good enough rep, and it's a solid finish. Got to run, come to the left behind us. We're locking up here, and we are driving all the way through. That's a really great rep right there. Again, a smaller guy, those guys can be extremely tough to block. We're just driving. We're taking him where he wants to go, but we're working upfield the entire time. Okay, now we're out on the wing. We crash inside. We're going to take him where he wants to go. This is 3rd and 1, so we have to keep the pile moving. We can't get locked up. That's what the defense wants. We want to clog up the gaps and make the running back make a decision that ultimately has him losing yards. So what do we got to do? We have to wash everything down. If he wants to spike inside, we got to take that and understand and trust our running back to bounce this outside off of our backside. This is sometimes where people get so caught up on like, oh no, we wanted a kick out, not a seal. We don't want to wash him in. We want to create a gap in between this guy and this guy. It doesn't matter. Fannin understands what's going on. He's listening to his coaches. Let's wash him in and create an opportunity to get a first down, and they do. All right, now we're on the line. Get a little sprint out, and that's a good job digging this guy out right here. Okay, they try to jump outside of him, get contained. If you want to jump outside, you want to expand the C gap so much, we'll ride a bus right through this thing. Okay, he's just trying to keep contained. Fannin understands this. He goes, okay, you want to jump outside? We have enough room now where we can work and we can win here. It's a good job, and look at the finish. Bam. That's how you do it. All right, we're down the line here again. 1st and long, and he's pulling as a lead blocker. We're hitting the first thing that we see, the first guy wearing the opposite jersey. So ultimately, though, this safety is lined up straight over top of the tight end. So they're playing some version of a man, and he's going to track as he cuts across the formation. Little does number 3 know, and unfortunately for him, he's the lead blocker. He's not covering him in pass coverage. We are scooping around with this kick out. We're creating an alleyway, and then we are sealing it so our running back can pop free. Bam. Really nice job. And 2, just the little finish at the end here. This is an attitude thing. I want you to look tight. Ball's clearly passed now. We're fighting. That last push out. It seems minor, but that's an attitude thing. That's a compete thing. That little throw at the end, that means something. All right, now we got one last play. Saving the best for last. Who's this right here? Who just went number 3 overall to the New York Giants. Abdul Carter, my friends. Okay? He's lined up in between the tackle and the tight end. What are we doing? We're running the ball to the left side here. We got a down block. This is a great player, though, so he's probably going to do something. We got to dig him out. He's going outside. Let's take him outside where he wants to go. Look at that. Create an alleyway. It's not Abdul Carter making the play. You can guarantee that because Fannin is digging him out to make a play. And look, this isn't a pancake block. This isn't anything crazy. Guys, this is a 230-pound tight end. He's smaller than Abdul Carter is. He's got to win any way that he can without a holding call. And that is how you do it. Like, you might think, oh, it's holding. No, his hands are inside the frame here. He's digging this guy out and trying to make a play. Maybe the hands finish on the back of the pads at the end, but that's not getting called. It's a really good job and just goes to show this guy has been up against the best and he's performed well enough. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. These film room style videos are definitely a different pace, but hopefully you learn something and you get excited at what you can expect from this type of player. Like I said over and over, I really believe that he is a steal in this draft. I think that in other drafts, he would have been the first tight end taken. And I think the fact that Terrence Ferguson from Oregon went ahead of him is kind of crazy. This guy had 1,555 yards on 117 catches. He had 17 catches alone in his bowl game and 213 yards. Harold Fannin Jr. is a reliability and YAC machine. He is something that you don't see very often. And I'm just so excited that the Browns got him. I think that Browns fans alike, just being in the Midwest, saw him at Bowling Green and were very high on him. Maybe it's just an oversight because of the regional aspect to scouting and recruiting. So we will see. Hopefully he turns out to be that. Again, my words, like, I can't crown him to be this great player. He's going to have to go out there, prove it and earn it. I have faith that it will happen because you can just tell when guys are comfortable and when they understand the game. And I think that that's the kind of guy that Harold Fannin Jr. is. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if this is your first time here. We're going to be doing a lot more of these prospect breakdowns for all the Browns draft picks and might even jump into some other guys around the NFL as well. Be sure to listen to the Optimistic Fan Club podcast. All the links that you need to find are below, and we will see you guys in the next one.